morning everyone, and welcome to another OutTheSaddle production. So today we're taking a look at Burrington Coombe. So Burrington Coombe, it's about a 2.2 mile climb in the southwest of England, in an area called the Mendips. It's an area of outstanding natural beauty, and it's actually not too far away from Cheddar Gorge. It's about 15 miles south of Bristol. And this was me giving it a crack a few days ago. So yeah, as I said, 2.2 miles at about 6% gradient, so quite a steady climb. Given what we've got in the UK, it's not actually that steep, but it does drag on for quite a long time. It's quite a long climb by UK standards. So just kind of at the bottom now. Yeah, 186 feet up, so pretty low down. I think the climb sort of tops out at about 800 feet. So about 620 foot climb there in terms of vertical elevation gain. Apologies to any of you that use meters. I don't know, it's quite a divisive topic is units used. Some people actually use distance in miles and elevation in meters, which is really confusing. Yeah, as you can see, I got my speed, elevation, and gradient, and then also the map in the right hand corner. I'm using the Garmin Verb software that you can download for free off the internet. So you don't need a Garmin Verb camera really, as long as you can just synchronize your Strava file with your GoPro with using Garmin Verb. Everything seems to work quite nicely. So yeah, just cruising up now. I'm just approaching a cattle grid in a moment, and this kind of marks this proper start of the climb really, as does the cattle grid at the top. So from the gorge that you're going through, it looks quite similar to Cheddar Gorge really. Kind of lots of rock outcrops there. Cheddar's a lot more much more of a deeper gorge. So it's a bit more spectacular than Burrington Coombe, but Burrington nonetheless is still quite a nice place to ride your bike really. So yeah, lots of cars going through. I was actually quite surprised at the amount of traffic. As I was going up here at about it was about 5 o'clock on a Saturday, and yeah, loads of cars coming through. So not the quietest of climbs, which is probably something that would certainly detract from the experience, but it was pretty decent conditions. I think I might have had a cross tailwind, or maybe a crosswind. The speed, yeah, my fitness probably isn't great, but I'm just trying to get back on the bike and get some form. Yeah, see the gradient 11% there, 12%. Not sure how accurate that is, but I do think there are points in the climb that do max out at around sort of double digits periodically. But I'd say Burrington is a climb that sort of favours a rider with a big engine. So as someone who is quite good at time trialling, I know that Burrington Coombe does the occasional hill climb every year, and sort of guys like Tej van Pettinger sort of get the proper aero bikes out with the time trial bars. So it certainly is kind of a climb that can be ridden very, very fast if you've got good conditions and you're sort of feeling strong. But yeah, as I said, never particularly steep. It's not like Draycott Steeps or Blagdon or West Harptree, East Harptree. It's nothing like that. It's kind of probably one of the easiest ways to get onto the top of the Mendips, which I suppose is why there's a big road going up there. But yes, we're getting about a third of the way up the climb now. We're really starting to get settled into a bit of a rhythm. So I've got my GoPro Hero Session on here. This is the camera doing the recording, just on a standard handlebar mount, and I've got my Garmin 810 on there on the right in the blue case to record some of this data. Yeah, it was a cracking ride. It's very, very cold. We're getting to mid to late November now, so it's getting more and more difficult to convince oneself to get on the bike and head out. And if you do, you've got to wear like all the cycling kit you have, which is something I had to do today. So arm warmers, leg warmers, base layer. No overshoes actually, no overshoes. But I'm not sure if they actually make any difference. Leave any comments about overshoes down below. I'm not sure if they really work, to be fair. If anything, I just think it makes it harder for you to clip in, to be honest. But there we are. So just approaching one of the bends in here. Normally it's quite a straight climb. I think this is where one of my mates actually stacked it back in the day. He was following another rider down, and I think he might have hit some gravel, and that was a little bit sketchy. But he managed to escape unscathed, but his bike was quite damaged. He snapped his forks. But anyway, that's another story. So yeah, just cruising up now. I think the time I did was about 2 minutes slower than my PR, but I was still reasonably happy with the ride up. I didn't feel like I was blowing too much. I actually managed to get a flat going into Long Ashton, so I was about 5-6 miles from home, and it was pitch black, and I did have the kit to replace a flat, but it was pretty chilly, and I wasn't sure if I actually had enough feeling in my fingers to do it. But fortunately, managed to get it all sorted out, and just rolled on back. Yeah, if you're riding this part of the world, you do have quite a lot of options in terms of climbs. So as I mentioned, Cheddar Gorge is just on the other side of the Mendips. So you could theoretically, do a Mendips loop where you go up Cheddar, go down Burrington maybe, and then potentially round and then up Draycott Steep, which is, as I said, quite a disgusting climb that goes sort of north into the Mendips. You've also got the Old Bristol Road that goes out to Wells. That's a cracking climb, and one of the guys in the cycle club at uni actually Everested that climb, so he did it about 35 times or something ridiculous. But that's the old road that goes north of Wells onto the Mendips. But the Mendips are the Mendips is great, but I think it sort of tops out in about it tops out at about 900 feet, which is it's kind of at the level I think where it starts to get fun. I know from sort of previous riding in the UK, say in like the Pennines or the Dales or Wales, Snowdonia, Brecon Beacons, when you sort of hit 1,000 feet, I think that's kind of like a point in which the scenery starts to get quite epic, and I do get that in the Mendips, sort of right at the top of Cheddar Gorge and the top of the Mendips, but it can never really raise it that much, which is a shame. But from the small area that the Mendips is, it does pack a lot of good tarmac and varied climbing. So if you are ever in the southwest, I do strongly recommend that you give it a go. So yeah, just past the next category. So we're kind of getting towards the top of the climb now. It starts to sort of level off a bit. I think there might be one more kick kind of near that wood that you're just approaching. But yeah, 635 feet up now, so to about 500 feet of climbing. Yeah, so you can see from the gradient 1% now, so it's almost flat really. So this is when it really helps if you have a big engine. You can just turn over a big gear, you know, quite easily at the top. Then again, quickly up to 11% again. So this is also another sort of characteristic of the UK climbing scene, where climbs just aren't really that constant in their gradient. So you know, you start off potentially always going downhill, and then there's a ramp at 20%, then it levels off again, then another ramp. So it's kind of not like the classic Alpine or the Italian Dolomites area, where you know you just got climbs that sort of snake up the mountain pass at 7%, maybe 8%. So yeah, we don't have particularly long climbs in this country, but we certainly make up for it in terms of its the severity of them. But yeah, on the right hand side there you can just see the Mendips sign, so formally into the Mendips now, at about 715 feet up. Yes, this is where you'd make a lot of gains if you were getting a good draft, sort of 3%. I have done this with other riders before, and that was definitely when I had my PR. So I was kind of missing that today, but I suppose it's more gain if I went it myself. So at the top of the climb, it's marked by a left turn. So when you get to this left turn, take that junction. You've reached the top of the climb. So I'm just approaching that. I think that's coming up in a few minutes or so. But at this point now, I'm actually quite tired. I didn't sort of go for an all-out effort because I hadn't really done that much training prior to that, and I'm not sure there was much pointing in doing that. I knew that I had to get back to Bristol. I didn't really want to bonk that much. But yeah, sort of the top of the climb is just past that crest, just approaching now. So yeah, the last sort of minutes or so of climbing. Also, as I mentioned before, if you ever are sort of in Bristol, sort of around sort of October, November, that is hill climb season, and there is a Burrington hill climb that's hosted by the Bristol South CC, and it's a relatively prestigious climb in the area, and there have been sort of former national hill climb champions that have taken to the scene. So if you are into that and you fancy travelling down to the southwest, certainly give Burrington a go. There's also another climb called Belmont Hill Climb, which I've done another video of, which is also hosted by the university, which is not too far away, about 10 miles away, I'd say. So certainly give those a go if you're local to the area or if you're travelling. So the climb's pretty much plateaued now, so I'm pretty much onto the Mendips, which is pretty beautiful actually. It's kind of getting towards sunset at this point, and I was quite keen to get back home really. I did have a good Bontrager front light on, but even so, it's not particularly ideal. But that's the climb, and I hope you enjoyed it. I did after I finished it. But yeah, I'm going to try and do a few more of these videos where I sort of narrate some GoPro footage, because I've done that before, and I do quite enjoy doing it. So stay tuned for more productions, and thank you very much for watching. Cheers.